A massive tsunami of death and disease is about to decimate the global mRNA vaccinated population, according to top virologist Dr. Geert van den Bosch, who warns that the spike protein is a ticking time bomb programmed to explode. If there was ever a virologist we should listen to, it's Dr. Bosch, whose CV includes roles as Senior Officer in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Senior Programme Manager for the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunisation, or Gavi. The Belgian virologist is a real high-level insider who couldn't continue working for the elite in good conscience. Now, he's blowing the whistle about his former colleagues and their secrets. And what he says about the elite's plans for humanity couldn't be more disturbing. Before we dive in, subscribe to the Rumble channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our influential community and support the channel. Dr. Bosch warns that a huge wave of illness and deaths among those vaccinated with mRNA is now imminent. And this massive tsunami will collapse hospitals and cause financial and social chaos in highly vaccinated countries around the world. Bosch issued the urgent warning during an appearance on the Kunstcast podcast last week.
I've been studying this for 4 years. I know what I'm talking about. I'm probably the only person, in all modesty, who understands the immunology behind this. The thing I want your audience to understand is that what we will be facing in terms of the hyper-acute COVID crisis that is imminent is that we will have to build a completely new world.
We are living in critical times in which the global elite must be defeated before they seize total control. Here is Dr. Bosch with a special message for his former colleagues, the COVID cartel, including Gates and Dr. Anthony Fauci.
If these people would now go out and say, oh, wait a minute, yeah, we have been making some mistakes, it wasn't all right, we have to correct them and we have to revise our opinion, these people would be stoned in the street, right? They have no choice. They have no choice other than to stick, even if they completely see how wrong they have been, they have no other choice. They can only hope that something will happen that will distract from this issue, that will distract it, but it won't. And so they keep silent, or they just continue along the path that they have been walking along so far. But I can tell you that many of them must be desperate. But, being together, they feel protected. This is a big lobby. This is a big lobby, and they think that everybody thinks that the other will protect them, right? Which is not the case. But this is this typical feeling. You all have committed crimes, but you're a big group, and it's like the mafia, and you feel all together, you feel like a big team and nobody can penetrate into the team, etc. It will collapse because the truth will surface. This has been a large-scale experiment of gain of function on the very human population. This is something that will be reported in history for many generations to come, much longer than the talks that have taken place after World War I and World War II, etc.
It's our job to ensure that the history books of the future record the COVID cartel as the criminals that they are. But first, we have to win the war against the global elite and serve justice upon them for the crimes against humanity they have perpetrated with psychopathic disdain. After this quick break, we'll reveal exactly how deep the plot against humanity goes and explain what we must do to defeat those who consider the human race to be useless eaters. But first, an important word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is LiverMedic. If you think the supplements you are getting from big box retailers are doing you any good, think again. Did you know that most of the retailers in America are owned and controlled by the same handful of companies that control everything? But we have a choice. LiverMedic's leaky gut repair is aimed at the millions of people suffering from all forms of digestive discomfort. Their safe and efficacious natural product is physician grade, with no toxic fillers. It coats while repairing the digestive lining. Best of all, unlike Big Pharma's offerings, it actually works. Join me and millions of other Americans who are voting with our dollars by supporting an American company that truly cares about our health. Save up to 15% on a 3-month supply by using our code People's Voice by visiting livermedic.com/step/leaky gut special, or by clicking on the link below this video. Take back control of your health, protect your family from the global elite, and hit them where it really hurts. Visit livermedic.com/step/leaky gut special, or click the link below this video to find out more. Dr. Bosch is not the only top doctor courageous enough to blow the whistle on the elite and their plans for global domination. In recent weeks, we've had brave testimonies from Dr. Peter McCullough, who revealed that the majority of COVID patients who died in hospital were murdered by medical staff who received massive financial incentives to implement lethal procedures. Dr. Mike Yaden, the former Pfizer executive, confirmed that COVID mRNA vaccines operate as a bioweapon with the goal of depopulating the Earth. And leading oncologist Dr. William Mackis revealed that rare and aggressive forms of cancer are exploding around the world. But really, we shouldn't need these brave truth-tellers to break the bad news. We should be able to see it all around us. Fully vaccinated athletes are dropping like flies. 4 professional soccer players have collapsed on live TV in the last week alone. And at a single university campus in North Carolina, 150 students and staff were just diagnosed with a host of tumours and immune diseases. And the so-called experts are desperately trying to convince the public that it has nothing at all to do with mRNA vaccines. Of course, not everybody's eyes are open. Mainstream media still has a hold over the perception of many people, and they're living in a fantasy land where war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Orwell must be rolling in his grave. This is why it's so important that we continue exposing the crimes of the elite and waking up as many people about the real agenda of the elites before it's too late. We really are in a fight for our lives and the lives of our future generations. Dr. Remy Lebo shares her experience working with world leaders who are not shy to admit the plot to depopulate the global population has been in the works for decades. Culling, they call it. Culling the useless eaters.
A head of state came to me and she had chronic issues, health issues that we did manage to correct. And one day she said to me, "You know, it's almost time for the great culling to begin." And I said, "What? The what?" She said, "Culling, C-U-L-L-I." I know the word, but what are you talking about? She said, "The culling of the useless eaters." Now, this was in 2002. I said, "What's a useless eater?" She said, "Not what, my dear, who?" I said, "Okay, who's a useless eater?" She said, "Those people who are consuming our non-renewable resources." And I said to her, "Did it ever occur to you that you're consuming their non-renewable resources?" And she said, "Oh, well, that's an interesting idea. Well, anyway," and she dismissed that out of hand. She said, "It's almost time for the culling of the useless eaters." And I said, "Well, how many of these useless eaters are you planning on culling?" And she said 90%. And I said, 90% of what? And she said, the total world population. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. Your enormous fortune, this is an immensely wealthy person, yes. Your enormous fortune depends on selling massive amounts of shit to huge numbers of people. If you don't have huge numbers of people to sell your massive amounts of shit to, how are you going to maintain your enormous fortune? And she said, "No, you really don't understand, do you, my dear?" I said, "Clearly not." She said, "The mercantile era is coming to an end. We are moving to a neo-feudal era. There will be us, the neo-aristocrats at the top, surrounded by our servants and servitors, and around them, our technicians. And that entire short pyramid requires only 10% of the current world population."
It's not like we haven't been warned. Unfortunately for the majority of the world, they place their trust in the criminal COVID cartel. and failed to heed the warnings of those who had humanity's interests at heart. At the start of the pandemic, Dr. Luc Montagnier, winner of the Nobel Prize for Medicine, slammed the mass vaccination program undertaken by world governments and said the future of the human race now depends on the unvaccinated. If only more people had listened to the wise words of Dr. Montagnier, Dr. Bosch, Dr. Makis and Dr. Yaden, instead of the siren song of Fauci, Gates, Schwab and the globalist COVID cartel. Here at The People's Voice, we are determined to continue exposing the crimes of the global elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the Rumble channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community for exclusive and uncensored content. We can't do it without you. Today's video is brought to you by IPv6ers. Are you a content creator who wants to publish information online without Big Brother spying and censoring your every move? IPv6ers is set to revolutionize the way information is disseminated on the internet by eliminating the need for big tech companies to provide unreliable, overpriced services such as self-hosting, email, and data management. IPv6ers enables an easy and accessible way for you to host your own web and email server with direct end-to-end connections and enhanced security. This means no snooping from Big Brother and no interference from the technocratic elite. If Hillary Clinton can get away with running her own server, why shouldn't you? Go to thepeoplesvoice.tv/IPv6 to sign up, or click the link below this video to take back control of the internet and win the info wars against the globalists. If you like our content, help support our sponsor IPv6ers and go to thepeoplesvoice.tv/IPv6 today. Thank you IPv6ers for making this video possible.